grade 2 students, now it's time to solve the worksheet together. We're going to start with the fish. We have to draw a fish and label its body parts. Here is a fish. We have the fin, the tail, scales, eye, and gill. I'm sure that you all know that the fish moves in water using its fin, right? And it breathes using its gills. So here we have the fin. You all know that a fish has more than one fin, right? So here is the tail, and here we have the scales. Here we have the eye, and here we have the gill. So the fish uses its gills to breathe, right? And its body is covered with disconnected scales. So here we have the fish body parts. Now let's move on to the second page. Here we have a frog. We have to label the body parts of a frog using the words in the box. We have front leg, webbed feet, long tongue, big eyes, and moist skin, and back leg. Let's start. Let's start with the front leg. Here we have the front leg. Here we have the webbed feet. I just want to remind you that the frog uses their webbed feet to swim in water. Here we have the long tongue. The frog uses its tongue to catch an insect for food. Here we have the big eyes, the moist skin, and now we have the back or hind leg. Now let's answer these questions. We have to choose the correct answer. The first question, where do frogs live? Where do you think? Of course, frogs live in water and on land. Let's move on to the second question. A frog is a mammal? A frog is an amphibian or a reptile? Yes, a frog is an amphibian. Number 3. Frogs use their teeth to catch insects. Do you think? No, frogs use their tongues to catch insects. Number 4, what helps a frog to jump off your hand? Of course, their moist skin. Their moist skin help the frog to jump off your hand when you try to catch it. Number 5, as adults, frogs breathe with lungs, with gills. No, frogs breathe with lungs, but fish breathe with gills. Here we have exercise number 3. We have to read the following text and then answer the questions. This text is about reptiles. Reptiles make up a big part of the animal kingdom, and they can be divided into different groups. Turtles and tortoises, lizards and snakes, crocodiles and alligators. However, a reptile is characterized by its dry skin covered with joint scales. As you know that reptiles have connected scales. Their scales cannot be disconnected. Most reptiles have 4 short legs. Now let's list 2 reptiles mentioned in the text. Of course, in the text we have more than 2 reptiles mentioned, but I'm going to write only 2. I wrote turtles and tortoises. Now, do all reptiles have legs? No, of course. Let's give an example. For example, a snake. A snake has no legs. But if let's talk about lizards. For example, lizards have short legs, the same as crocodiles and alligators. Here we have a table about reptiles and fish. We have to complete it. Their body is covered with, let's talk about reptiles. Their body is covered with connected scales, while the body of a fish is covered with disconnected scales. How do they breathe? We all know that reptiles use their lungs to breathe, while fish uses their gills to breathe. Now, where do they lay their eggs? Reptiles lay their eggs on land, while fish lay their eggs in water. How do they move? If we're talking about reptiles, they can walk and they can swim, so they use their legs to move on land, while fish uses their fins and tails to swim. Where do they live? Reptiles live on land and in water, while fish lives in water.